Hey everyone, my name's Amanda. I'm 37 and I am doing IVF with a donor so that I can have a baby. If you watched my previous video, you know that I'm having a boy and I'm not pregnant yet, but my transfer is coming up soon and I'm really excited about it. I just wanted to make a little video about frequently asked questions that I have been getting. I have been very open about this entire process with everyone in my life. Work needed to know because I had to take some time off of work for appointments and traveling up to Denver and things like that. I live on the western slope of Colorado and there's not a fertility clinic on this side of the state. I mean, there might be some specialists, but nobody that does IVF. And unfortunately, I am not a candidate for IUI as I've tried to get pregnant naturally before and was not successful. So IVF it is, and it has been a very expensive journey. I have been thinking about doing this since I was like 31 and I'm 37 now. So when I was 31, I bought my house and I bought it in 2018 when everything was reasonably priced and interest rates were great. So what I decided to do to afford this was refinance my house and take out a loan. I don't know if that's something for everyone, but for me, it was the most logical because I'm not planning on staying here at this house forever. I don't want to raise my little guy in the neighborhood that I live in. I live in kind of like the shady part of town, so I would like to get out in the country or a better neighborhood at least. So I refinanced my house and I took out a loan for $50,000. And yeah, the first phase is what I'm calling it. The first phase of everything with the egg retrieval and the meds, that was about 30,000 of it. That was pretty expensive. Medications were about 5,000, and then the egg retrieval and all the appointments and the monitoring, because then you have to pay the anesthesiologist and things like that. That was all. They actually gave me a discount for paying cash, so I was quoted 24 and I think that I paid like 23. So, and plus all of my trips up there, because the clinic is about 4.5 hours away, and then I had to stay for 6 days in a hotel while I was getting the monitoring leading up to the egg retrieval. So and the room, it wasn't that expensive because I found like a little cheapy one. It was an extended stay, so that way I could have, you know, somewhere to cook and a nice sized refrigerator to keep some things in, so that way I didn't always have to be eating out because I knew the cost of eating out would add up as well. So that's not including the 1-day workup. I did my 1-day workup back in June, and there were labs involved with that, and then there were take-home labs, so you had to take a box with you. And because I am a registered nurse, I just went to my job and had one of my fellow nurses draw my blood for me, and I sent it in myself. But not everybody's privy enough to do that. And I probably saved myself about $250 by doing it that way. Because there was one other time where I had to go get my blood drawn here in the town that I live in, and that was $250. And then there was another time where I had to go get labs and ultrasound at the local hospital, and that was like $730. So I decided from now on, if I couldn't because I had to work that day. If I am able to, I'm just going to make that drive, the 4-hour drive, to do the blood work and the ultrasound, because it's only about $100 in gas and one of my days off, and it's much cheaper than having to go to the local clinic, local hospital here, and paying $700. It's much more worth it to do it that way because it's all included in your package. The clinic will include blood draws and ultrasounds in your package. So my next phase is the transfer, the FET, and they quoted me for that about $55.85. And then meds for that, so far they said to put aside about $4,000 for meds for that, but so far I've only seen a couple $100 worth of meds that I have to get through the specialty clinic. So I'm not sure if that was wrong or if I read something wrong, but I don't know. I just put the money aside just in case. And if it doesn't end up costing that much, then great. So, but yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna sit down and go through everything and plan everything for the transfer. So, hard part is almost over. At least this is the hard part for me. I don't have children, so some people watching who do have children might say, no, you haven't even started the hard part yet, because there's going to be sports and you have to, feed and clothe your child and things like that. So I have been fortunate. I have been financially blessed. I don't know. I've just always been a saver. I've always been really good with my money, and I've always budgeted. I don't like being in debt, so I don't have any debt, other than a mortgage and a car payment. I do have credit cards because of this process. That's how I paid for the one-day workup, because that was around $3,000 to $4,000. So I did put that on a credit card because that was when I was still like thinking about doing this. I wasn't sure if I needed to do IVF yet. So I thought, well, let me just do the one-day workup, see what the doctor thinks and what she says. And I was fortunate that, I didn't have any endometriosis, no fibroids, nothing like that. Everything looked great. So that was a blessing. But I just kind of wanted to do that first, and then after my one-day workup and she recommended IVF, then that's when I went ahead and started planning. So I had to skip a cycle. I didn't start until August's cycle because I was waiting on getting the money and things like that, getting it all situated. So it was fairly easy to refinance my house, just because like I said, I have always been pretty good with money and saving, and so I have a good credit score, and so it was no problem getting a lender to work with me. So hopefully I love my house. I do. I just don't live in a great neighborhood, so hopefully me and little guy can find something better. So somewhere where it has a nice neighborhood where he can make some friends. So but yeah, then I kind of wanted to talk about some other questions that people have been asking me I've been getting some kind of silly questions, and some questions that are, pretty good. And I'm like, well, you know what? I never thought about that before, but I'm going to think about it now. So, people want to know how I picked my sperm donor. Well, that was easy for me, because I had all my blood work done at the 1-day workup, and there was this one thing that I was positive for, like a recessive, something recessive. I can't even remember what it was. And so I was like, okay, well, when I go look for my donor, I want to make sure that he is negative for that. And then also I'm CMV positive, so I needed to find a donor that was CMV positive as well. So there were two things that I put in my filter. And then I want my child to look like me, so I put brown hair and blue eyes. And two people popped up, and I didn't even look at the first guy. I just went straight to the second guy because I thought he was so handsome. I used Zytex so I could see the pictures. And that's actually how I picked my clinic, because I wanted to make sure that I found a fertility clinic that used Zytex. I think most fertility clinics do, but I found them and they did, so it worked out. But I just thought he was so handsome, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to read more about this person. And I just loved what he had to say. And I know all about his life, and I just feel like he's made some really great decisions in his life, and he's made a lot of achievements and accomplishments. And I just felt like, if I was his mom, I would be very proud of him. He's done very well, and he takes care of himself. He prides himself in exercise and being healthy, and I think that's important. I feel like you have to have a certain type of personality. You have to have like that type of personality that's like dedicated, to that kind of thing, because it's hard. It's hard to eat healthy and exercise, when we live in a world full of junk food, basically. So I just thought that was neat, because I'm kind of like that too. I like to stay healthy and exercise and eat right. And so I thought that was good. I thought that if I would have met this person in real life, that we would probably get along. And I just thought he was just so handsome. I just couldn't help myself. So that's how we got there. So some people ask me, how am I going to tell my child about how they came into this world? And there's a lot of books out there, so I'm gonna start early on. I'm just gonna talk to the little baby like he's a person, and I'm gonna tell him all about how he became a person. I'll tell him all about the IVF, and I'll show him videos about, IVF. I think I'm gonna refer to my donor as donor, or maybe seed guy, or something that a little child would understand initially. So yeah, I'm gonna tell him all about the donor from the first day of his life, so that way he knows where he came from, so, and how he came to be. What else do people ask me? They ask me a lot about the cost. They ask me a lot about the process. I live in a small farmer's town, basically, and some people have asked me, they haven't like really understood like why I am doing IVF, because I don't go around saying, well, I tried to get pregnant naturally and it didn't work, that sort of thing. They just say, well, like, why don't you just meet somebody and have a baby with that person? And it's like, well, it doesn't work that way. I can't naturally. I've tried and it didn't work. And also, I just haven't found that right person for me that wants to start a family together with me. So I'll do it on my own before it's too late, because I'm 37 and my eggs are already having a hard time getting mature where they need to be. And there's plenty of time to find love. So I will. You can have a wedding at any age, but you can't have a child at any age. There's a certain, window that you have to have children. So that's where I'm at in my life. And there have been a couple of people that I've met. People ask me if I'm still dating. Yes, I am still dating. If somebody comes along and I like them and they like me and they want to go out on a date, then why not? Just because I'm doing this IVF right now doesn't mean that I can't also focus on my love life. So I have been on a few dates, and I am honest about what I have going on. Not necessarily on the first date, because my motto is the first date is to see if you like them enough for a second date. So if on the first date you like them enough for a second date, then that's when it's a good time to disclose, what's going on in your life. And so there was one person that was just totally understandable, and he thought that it was beautiful, is what he said. And we were talking for a little while, and he was younger than me, and he already had 2 girls, and he said that becoming a dad was one of the best things that ever happened to him. So he understood, how I felt. And I asked him, I said, well, how do you feel about dating a woman that's pregnant with another man's baby? And he said, but you're not pregnant with another man's baby, you're pregnant with your baby. And I just absolutely loved that he said that, because it totally put things into perspective for me. Like, I hadn't really thought about it that way before. And I always thought, well, if I date somebody, I need to make sure that they understand that I'm pregnant with another man's baby. But I love the perspective that he had on that. He said, no, it's your baby. So even though that relationship didn't really make it beyond like a 3rd date, that's okay. I feel like people come and go in your life, and if they've taught you something, then that's great. I'll remember him forever because of what he said. So that was great. So yes, I am still dating, but I'm not like out there actively like seeking. I'm not on like any dating apps or anything like that. It's just, if somebody happens to come along and they're nice and I like them and they like me, then sure, what the heck. I'll have to think here just for a second about other questions that people have asked me. Hold on, let me think. Some of the other questions that people have asked, am I going to contact the donor? The answer is when my child is 18, he gets the donor's contact information. So yeah, if Colby wants to do that when he's 18, then cool. But other than that, I respect my donor's privacy. I know that there is like a sibling registry. People ask me if I want to know the siblings. Yes, absolutely. I want to do the sibling donor registry. I want to be in contact with the other families. that have the same donor. I think that would be really neat. So, but I don't necessarily need to meet up with anybody, but like if they're in the same area, I think that would be great if we got together. But yeah, a lot of people have asked me how I felt about my donor having potentially, because they can go up to 25 reported pregnancies per donor. That's just in the US. I don't know what it is for the UK. But yeah, I went into this knowing that there's gonna be other people that purchase from my donor. So I was prepared for that already. So I think it's really cool. I want my child to know its siblings. I don't know. I just think that would be so cool. If I was a kid and I had 25 brothers and sisters, I would be really excited about that. And I think that would be really cool. So hopefully, in the future, maybe I can use my same vial. So I still have some left. Maybe I can give him a brother or sister. I think that'd be cool. Yeah, I did the ICIS. So it's where they take your egg and they hold it real still in the petri dish, and then they take your sperm and then they inject it into the egg with a needle. So I watched a video and it was pretty awesome. So I can't really think of any other questions that people have asked me. I think that a lot of people have just said, well, why don't you wait? And my response is, wait for what? Because when you've made up your mind about getting pregnant with a donor, whether it's IUI or IVF, you're not waiting. And if you have the funds for it, then you're definitely not waiting. And I've been thinking about doing this for about 6 years. So, and you know, when I was 31, I was like, yeah, I still have time. And my goal, well, not really my goal, but kind of the pact that I made with myself was, if I hadn't fallen in love by 35 and gotten married and all that, blah, 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 then I would do this on my own. Well, 35 came and went, 36 came and went, and here I am, 37. I actually just turned 37, so yeah, I pushed it off. I had my initial consultation right after I turned 36, and I pushed it off a little bit because I was like, I could wait, but now I just feel like I can't wait, and I have a little embryo that is going to be transferred into me soon, so I'm really excited about that. I can't wait. If y'all have any other questions for me, go for it. I would love to hear them. And any advice that I can give to any other choice moms or only parents out there is be prepared for the silly questions. Most of the time, people have been just very respectful and kind, and they're like, yeah, if this is what you want to do, then go for it. I have come across a few people who have said a thing or two where I'm just taken aback a little bit, like, why would they say that? But I just let it roll off my back, and I pay it no mind, and this is my life, not theirs, and it's what I'm doing, and doesn't bother me. So that's the attitude you have to have, and be prepared for the silly questions. Most of the time I just laugh it off. if it's a silly question, you know, and if they're doing it to be silly. So anyways, so yeah, stay tuned for more videos. Thanks, guys.